this might come as a shock to you, but every once in a while, I can be wrong. It happens. Actually, my wife will tell you it's not that rare. Anyways, what I did when I ranked all of these implants the first time around is I actually put the Thermal Circulation Implant at the second to the top. And after looking at this, I kind of feel like I need to adjust that. Is it up? Is it down? I don't know. Let's find out. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there and say, I'm sorry, guys. I know that I missed a video last week. We actually just adopted a new German Shepherd puppy. I say puppy, he's 11 months old. So that's been taking more of my focus than I'd like to admit, but he's a lovable little rascal is probably the best way to say it in a family-friendly way. Anyways, back to Eve Echoes. So today we are talking about the Thermal Circulation Implant, and this one for me is a really interesting one, and it's one that I initially I didn't write it off, but I put it at the bottom of my list because I just didn't really feel like there was enough value in it. And honestly, after doing some of this testing, I think I might have to bump this one up to a gotta have it. Now, the implant itself works in a fairly straightforward way. As you shoot, doesn't matter if you hit or not, just as you shoot, you accumulate heat. When that heat gets to 70, you get a damage bump. That damage bump is proportional to the, I guess I don't know if it's linear, I guess, to the level that you have the implant upgraded. You start basically with a base 10, and then for every level that you have, you multiply that by 2. So at level 1, you have your base 10 plus 2 for a 12% increase, and then all the way up to level 45, where you are getting base 10 plus 90 for that 100%. Now this works both up and down, so as you are shooting and you are still gathering heat up, you are obviously getting that bonus. But then if you deactivate the module or you deactivate the implant, as that is coming down, you lose 2 heat every second. You are still getting that damage bonus. So it's actually a little bit better than like the Barrage implant or something like that, where you only get 6 shots no matter what. When I was doing this testing, if I had 2 magnetic field stabilizers activated at a time, I was actually getting between 9 and 12 shots, again at that increased DPS. So it's really a nice little damage bump there. You do have to be careful, because if you hit 100%, you will actually overheat and you will suffer a 400% activation time penalty. Basically makes your guns 4 times longer between shots, which can really obviously be a big penalty there. Now, as we're going through this, the way that you can do it is you can actually play a little bit of a game here, if you will. You activate the implant, you get up to a certain amount. I typically like to go ahead and activate my damage mods as I'm hitting that 70 heat mark. That gives me up to probably about 95 to 98 heat. I then deactivate the module, and as it comes back down, I'm still getting that increased activation time and some of the benefits of that damage mod. Now, this is where I was wrong. At level 15, I just kind of wrote this one off. I was like, oh, if it's under 30, it's kind of, whatever, worthless, whatever. And that's why I really put this one as the nice to have instead of the gotta have it, or whatever it was, the second highest one. Now, at level 15, if you are under 30 heat, you get either a accuracy and fall off bonus, or an optimal range and fall off bonus. I can't talk today. Again, puppy brain. Or you get a base 20% increase to your armor resistances. Now, obviously, this still comes into effect with, like, you can't have more than 100%, and there's a law of diminishing returns, things like that. But either way, you get this under 30%, or under 30 damage, under 30 heat. Jeez, I cannot talk. So when you are under 30 heat, even if the implant is not active, you're getting these bonuses. So if you're in a sniper, say you're in a Naga 2 or something like that, or Naga 3 or whatever, you're using rifled rails, you are getting a 25% bonus to your optimal range and your accuracy fall off, making this thing much more of a sniper than I was honestly expecting it to be. The other thing that's really fun with this one is that 20% armor resistance buff. And the reason that this one is so awesome is that even if you're not using rails, you can get the benefit for this. I threw this on a Prophecy Guardian. I got some great results, about 30,000 extra EHP because of the resistances buff, all of that. I mean, just it was really phenomenal in being able to get that. So if you're not going to be using whatever implant it is, like let's say that you don't have Bombard, or you don't have you know, a missile implant that you really like, or you're not, that's just not what you're using the thing for. Maybe you're throwing it on like a thorax hick or something like that. I would just leave this thing deactivated, equip it, deactivate it, so that you're always under that 30 heat line and you're getting this bonus. Again, I'm thinking about like the Armageddon, right? I would love to be throwing this on the Armageddon, making that thing just as tanky as heck, and I'm, you know, just using the E-War basically bonuses for that to get somebody and just nuke them out, and they can't do anything. They can't, or it's a lot harder for them, I should say, to kill me because I've got those extra armor resistances. Either way, this in and of itself has so much versatility and tactical options that it gives you. I really actually am a big fan of this one. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did. When we hit level 30, we do get two options, both of which will apply when we overheat. Now, I don't think you should ever overheat. I shouldn't say never, because somebody's going to say in the comments, well, what about this one little thing? Whatever. Okay. Try not to overheat unless it's in a very intentional way. All right. How about that? Now, if you are going to do this, you will get either a 300% bonus to your thermal damage. Remember, thermal damage is only about half of the total damage that a railgun is going to do. So even though you are doing what seems like a lot, the total amount that you are getting with that minus 400% activation time, you're still ending up at less DPS than you would be if you just hadn't activated this thing at all. Now, when we look at the other side of the coin, the armor and hull bonuses, again, this is great. I think it's fantastic. You could maybe kind of use it as like a last-ditch effort to stay alive or something like that. But again, I think that you'll be better off trying to apply damage or something like that, unless, again, maybe it's a bunch of tracking disruptors are on you or something like that. I don't know, but I would imagine that I would prefer to have the just regular DPS and stay alive with other tank rather than try to stay alive by overheating. If you're in that position, again, I think that you're kind of hosed already. So overall, I don't know if I'd really go to level 30 except for the additional bonus of damage. Again, at level 30, because you have the 10% base plus 2 times each level, you're ending up with about a 70% bonus to your damage when you are above 70% or 70 heat. I keep saying that. When you're above that level, you are getting a good bit more damage there. So it might be worth upgrading, especially if you're flying a cap or something like that. At level 45, we have the ability to basically give ourselves 50 heat automatically. I would use this to kind of skip past the no man's land, if you will, between 30 heat and 70 heat. So again, once you're hitting kind of 20, I'd probably activate this so that you immediately start getting into that damage buff range. This way you have kind of the under 30 bonus, whether that's fall off or the extra resistances, and then you're immediately able to start doing more damage. That would be how I would use this. I don't know if it's enough of a reason to go all the way to 45. Again, we're talking about a very healthy investment to get to that point, but it is a nice little perk. I think it's one of the better end abilities when it comes to the way this implant works, and it's really just kind of meshes well together with the other abilities. Moving on to general units, the damage boosts are always going to be welcome, especially in something like this where we are getting a specific damage buff. So again, anything that's going to improve that is always going to be welcome. Now, the other ones that I would look at, the tracking computers, again, because these are turret-based weapons, that's always going to be a great addition, whether that's extra fall-off, tracking speed, whatever it is. I think that those are always going to be nice, especially with snub-nosed rails having such a short range. That could be really beneficial, especially, again, if you're talking about using a Vindicator or something like that. Number 3 and 4, you can probably kind of use interchangeably depending on what you're flying. I do like the armor rep output for this one. Again, because we're getting a little bit extra of a resistance, being able to rep through and give us a little bit more health over time, especially if you're flying a Guardian, I think could be really, really useful. When you're talking about something that's got, an average of 85 resistances across the board, I think that you're going to get a little bit more utility out of that and having that extra buff for that rather than, something like the efficiency or anything like that. Again, play with it and see kind of what you guys think. And then for the last one, again, very similarly, it's going to be more of a defensive GU. I'd be looking at the armor plate overheating. I like the armor plate overheating because it does give you more HP while not necessarily hitting you quite as hard. I think it's the reactivation time. So for that one, it's going to be a little bit easier to get through all of those hit points with that additional resistance. I would stay away from the efficiency armor plate one because I think it does reduce the actual time that the module is activated. So it's not going to give you quite as much bonus there, even though it does give you more health on the shields themselves. So that's it for the Railguns, guys. I think this is a really great implant. I would definitely be, if you're flying any kind of armor ship, I would go out and get it. Specifically the level 15, you can get this one in the cap DR. So if you can talk with your court mates, get them to carry you if you need to, whatever it is. It's got a ton of utility. It lets you have, again, just that little bit of extra tank. I really like this one. I'm going to be prioritizing going out and getting it myself. So I would definitely be looking at putting that one into your arsenal if you can. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are you as excited about this as I am, or am I just crazy? It's entirely possible and a valid reason for you to say that I'm crazy. But either way, I'd look forward to hearing from you. And if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. If you're watching this far into the video, you've probably already done that, but I appreciate you anyways. So until next time, have a great day, have a great week. And remember, Thermal Marks last forever, and fly safe.